We're rolling.
All right. What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards. I'm fresh with the new headset. This is professional. This quarantine been going on a long time, so I might as well invest in some equipment that I already had laying around the house. So I threw on a headset. So you're getting a real official podcast. This is Comic Rant. It's available at allthingscomedy.com. I want to thank a producer who helps us put this together every week, Aaron Brungardt. He works for All Things Comedy, and All Things Comedy has a host and a bunch of other podcasts with other comics like Bill Burr, Bert Chrysler, I think Tiger Belly's on there, Kate Quigley, Date Fails, and the list just goes on and on. So go to allthingscomedy.com and, got some time on your hands, you're going for a walk, your third hike for the day, or, you can't get control of the TV because somebody else wants to watch something else, check out a podcast. And you could watch this podcast also on YouTube, listen to it on SoundCloud, listen Stitcher, Spotify. It's just everywhere. All right. And the co-host for the day is Martin Harris. What up, Martin?
Hey.
He was in The Hunt, the stand-ups, and a ton of other movies. And he writes for 442 magazine. What's the deal, fam?
Yeah, talking about a 442, I'm following their guidelines of promoting new issue that came out today. They sent the guidelines, to tweet about it, to Instagram it, but I will also talk about it. So I did a very long story with Jerzy Dudek. It's one of the main stories actually of the magazine. It's actually the first time I wrote out such a long story for them. And he talks a lot of stuff he never talked about. He talks in details about the Champions League final when Liverpool beat AC Milan on penalties in 2005. Mm-hmm. He talks about his feud with Rafa Benitez, that he almost punched him during the training once. Uh-huh. That it got that close, and he explains why. And the very interesting fact that I don't think he ever talked about is that there was a deal in place for him to go to Arsenal before he joined Liverpool, but the Feyenoord asked for more money, and after that they sold him to Liverpool for less money that Arsenal offered. And Arsene Wenger was furious. He was calling him like, "What the hell is going on?" And yeah, there's a lot of interesting stories.
So Feyenoord messed up that deal.
It's strange. I mean, the Arsenal was offering 7.5, and they asked for 10, and 6 weeks later they sold him to Liverpool for 5.5.
So Arsenal pulled out the deal.
No, they just said it's the deal is off. That they want 10 million pounds or dollars. I think it's pounds. Sorry, and so Arsenal. And Arsene Wenger said, we don't even pay for strikers that kind of money. And they offered 7.5.
Right.
Which Jersey didn't know at the time. So
does that mean that Arsenal pulled out of the deal then?
No. I'll explain one more time. I probably rushed through it. So he was at the time at Feyenoord. And he was not only the best goalkeeper of the season, he was the player of the season in the Dutch league.
All right.
He had unbelievable season with Feyenoord. So of course he attracted some other clubs, and knowingly so, Arsene Wenger with Arsenal was now known from watching Dutch league and getting players from the Dutch league. He got a lot of players from the Dutch league, Bergkamp, Van Persie. You can name a lot of them. So he invited him for 2 days with his agent. Invited him to London, showed him around. And they had a deal. They negotiated contract terms and everything, and they had a deal. He went back to Rotterdam, and the deal was about to happen. And after 2 weeks, he's asking his president, what's going on? Why I'm still here? And they're like, sorry, but we're not going to sell you. What they're offering is not enough. And that's it. He was very, very upset. Mm-hmm. But then the new season started, and I think around third or fourth round, and that was almost 2 months later, the Liverpool offer came, and it was accepted right away. And then Arsene Wenger called him a few days later saying like, what's going on? Why I'm being cheated on? Like, why is this happening? I offered 7.5 million. They said 10, and we couldn't spend 10. But then I just realized that they sold you to Liverpool for 5.5.
Uh-huh. 5?
Yeah. So
Shit.
they rejected 7.5 from Arsenal and they sold him to Liverpool for much less, for whatever reason.
He went to the right team.
He did, because he was a fan, and he talks about it too, that he had a scarf of Liverpool over his bed as a kid.
Yeah. It's not like he lost money.
No.
Yeah. That's on final, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you watch any Bundesliga games?
A lot. What else can I do? A lot.
Yeah. What do you think of so today Bayern played Dortmund?
Yeah. But before I go to that, I want to point out one interesting fact. And it actually happened again today. I watched the game after that when Leverkusen lost at home to Wolfsburg. It was beaten badly. So far, 70% of the games are won by the away teams.
Yeah. And another funny thing is, and you really lose when you stick fake pictures of fans in the stand. And then the Leverkusen game, they piped in the crowd noise. You know how embarrassing it is to lose to fake crowd noise in your own stadium? And
but here's the question, though.
To get your ass. Well, let me finish the statement. And to get your ass whipped. And it's like, there was one game they were like piping in the noise, and I don't know how. That's the thing. I don't know if they're piping it in the stadium or somebody's doing it just like how.
That's my question, because I've heard that they do that. The TV is doing that, not the.
It's just the TV, but whoever's doing it is DJing the sound precisely. Like when there's a substitution, they play the applause when the player is exiting, as if the crowd is applauding. Like when there's a foul and it's a home team, and the foul is called against the home team, they have the crowd booing. Like whoever's DJing, the crowd is killing it. Yeah. But it also, like in one game, they were taking a player out of the game. His team is down 4-0, and they had the crowd applauding. Like if that was a real game and you're down 4-0 getting substitute, your home fans would be booing you, not applauding you. So that one was wrong. But like, listen, you know what's worse? There's nothing weirder than playing a game in an empty stadium. But the only thing weirder than that is hearing a full stadium sound coming from an empty stadium. We don't need the sound. Do you need the sound?
You know what? Like with the Bayern game, actually the sound made it better watch. I kind of liked it. It made it better watch. No?
I would have liked that game, sound or no sound. It's Bayern versus Dortmund, the two last champions, and it's like they have exciting players.
Yeah,
it's like I don't need the sound.
The quality of football is actually very impressive.
Yeah, man.
Under the circumstances,
I think there's no crowd. It's like when you're training, and you're just playing and there's no crowd. That's what they're doing out there. You know what I mean? And I feel like the technical ability in Germany is high, and I've said that before. But just in the Bayern game, and this is like from the weekend into today, like Davies, he's 18 years old. Is it Davis?
Alphonso Davies, yeah.
Alphonso Davies, 18 years old. Like, how in the world do you come from a war-torn country, from being a refugee, to going to Canada, to going to Germany, and starring on a team that's legendary, that's won the Bundesliga, coming up to, it might be 8 seasons in a row, and you're starting at that age? How does that even happen so fast? Like, you know how talented you have to be to just like to go from there to there to there to there, and then it's justified too. Like this dude, like he saved a goal today. Like he there was one play when Haaland kind of got in front of everybody and
Yeah.
was about to take a shot, and he just smoothly recovered. Like,
Yeah.
it's like the engine of a Lamborghini. Just like,
And then on the other side, like 5 minutes later, I think he dribbled past like 4 players.
yeah, and then dribble, and then Hummels like shouldered him out of bounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, this guy, this is something else, man.
Yeah, I remember that because I remember the moment when I've heard of him first because he was 14 when he signed
yeah?
with Vancouver Whitecaps. I think right before his 15th birthday or right after his 15th birthday, he played in the MLS. He played 100 games in the MLS.
That guy at 15?
Yeah, he started at 15, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so he was a sensation, and I wrote a story about him. And then I remember I asked Zlatan about him after the game when he played at Galaxy, and Zlatan was like, I haven't seen such a talented guy in the entire league. Like, this is by far the most talented kid in the league. And then he got bought by Bayern. I remember I was scheduled to do an interview. He already signed with Bayern, I think 6 months prior to going to Bayern. He was still playing for Whitecaps. And the PR guy, before he allowed me to talk to him, said, "Yeah, just be careful. He's a very shy guy. You know, like don't he will blush if you like pump him too much. You know, like be like very delicate with him." And I did talk to him, and he was extremely kind, extremely humble, very very normal, very normal in what he was saying. There's not a fake bone in his body.
How, and what did you learn in the interview about like what's his journey?
He was in a refugee camp.
From what country?
Let me pull it out because I have this story in my computer. I'm gonna use some quotes then from him. I don't want to get it wrong. Alfonso Davis is this one.
And then there's it's funny to watch the Germany to pay more attention to it, because then there's like an American player on one of the teams. I forgot what team I watched this weekend. He was playing like maybe like a central midfielder role. What team was he on? And I think his name was McKenna, but he's like 17 and he plays for the US. Let me find him while you look that up.
Yeah, he was from a refugee camp in Ghana.
Okay.
And I remember when he said, and that was very cute, that when he learned first about Bayern, he was so happy and anxious at the same time because he plays FIFA a lot as a kid. He played FIFA a lot, and he played Robben and Thiago. Those were his favorite players on FIFA. And then he went to meet with Bayern for the first time, and he was introduced to Robben, and he that was a big emotional moment for him. It was a surreal experience.
Right. But there's a lot of like, but I'm saying a lot, but I'm surprised. Like, so there's that Canadian, but then there's Weston McKennie. That's his name. He's 21 years old. Plays for Schalke.
Mm-hmm. Just the last thing I want to point out about Davis is, and I talked to our mutual friend Janusz, whose son works for Fox, so it's not Fox's fault. But when I was listening to the broadcast of the previous Bayern game, and one of the broadcasters, they're actually using an international commentators because Fox is losing Bundesliga to ESPN, so they don't want to invest. That's why there's no studio, no experts, and that's why they don't use their own commentators. They use the international feed. Those are not American commentators commentating.
I like these commentators.
Yeah, but
they know the league.
Yeah, but they make mistakes, big mistakes. Like with Alfonso Davis, there was a moment when he was like, such a huge talent, and it's a shame he'll probably never play the World Cup. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Canada is co-host of the World Cup in 2026. He'll be 25, not even at his prime. Plus, Canada is actually, there are a bunch of young, talented kids. So I think they have a chance to qualify for the next one. A pretty good chance. So, really not prepared.
All right. I was just going to say Pepe Reina has a son, Gio Reina, 17 years old. Today, Dortmund took Harlem. Let me finish. Reina. Dortmund took him. Claudio Reina, yeah, my bad. Dortmund took Haaland off the field to put this kid in. And the first weekend that the Bundesliga came back, he was supposed to start, but he got hurt in training. So how good is this kid that he's like 17 and Dortmund is willing to start him? And he looks young as shit, man. Leipzig has a Tyler Adams, 21 years old. And these are good teams. And then there's
there's a bunch of American players. Stefan scored an equalizer today. Best goalkeeper in the MLS a year ago, yeah. He was the best goalkeeper in the MLS a year ago.
So this is great, man.
Yeah. He was playing for Columbus Crew, and he was the first choice goalkeeper for US. Very good player.
Oh, shit. Then there's Josh Sargent. He's 20 years old. Plays for Werder Bremen.
Yeah. Yeah, and the goal today for Eintracht Frankfurt, the goal for when they finished against Freiburg was scored by Timothy Chandler, another American player.
Yeah, I'm gonna just let me get down the list. Don't jump ahead of the list. John Brooks, age 27, Wolfsburg, center back, and Fabian Johnson, 32, Mönchengladbach, Timothy Chandler, 30 years old, Eintracht Frankfurt. Damn, there's so many. Alfredo Morales, Fortuna Düsseldorf. Jesus. Ulysses Lanz, he's 19, midfielder for Wolfsburg. Brady Scott, Cologne, keeper. Man, that's a good like the US. I'm gonna start paying attention to the US team, like in these next coming tournaments, because that's they're getting great. It's good pedigree for and good training for US players in those like this thing. Even though what was the German US coach that didn't work out? My mind is blanking today. You say it again, Klinsmann.
Klinsmann, yeah.
Yeah. That shit is, what he started to do is actually coming to fruition now. And it's just good that we'll have players with good international experience playing against real teams. That's gonna it's just gonna help internationally for US soccer. So that's good.
Yeah, and Reina, they say he's a bigger talent than even Pulisic, but that's not the case for me. For me, more important is if they can play together and have a really good. Then we'll have a very good in the United States. We'll have a very good attacking front line with Pulisic and Reina. If that can work out, why not? Those are two highly talented players, offensive players.
Yeah, this is going to be some exciting U.S. soccer if the world ever gets back to normal. We could go further in the World Cup than we've ever been. You laugh. Why you laugh? Why'd you laugh?
Who's laughing? He laughed?
I thought you laughed when I said if the world ever gets back together.
No, I think we have something is in the internet that there's a little bit of a delay between reactions. So that's
I think there is. Yeah. I think my internet is shitty.
Okay, maybe it's mine. I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably yours. You know what? It's probably yours.
Yeah, I can take the blame. No problem.
What else? Tell me more about Davis.
So yeah, I mean, there were a bunch of teams interested in him. Bayern took the risk because they paid pretty big money for him. With all the bonuses, it's over 20 million. I think he was the highest transfer in the history of the league until Almiron
went to Newcastle.
It was a little bit more. But I think with all the bonuses, actually the Davies transfer will be higher if he reaches certain things with the national team or plays Champions League games or whatever. But yeah, I mean, listen, I did a long story. I talked to his teammates, I talked to his coach, I talked to Zlatan, and everybody was super impressed, saying how hard he works. And an important part was that when he started playing and he said it, when he started playing in the age of 14, 15, he said that the best thing that happened to him was that during trainings, because he was already part of the first team of the Whitecaps, when he was 15, 16, he was playing almost every game for the Whitecaps. He said that nobody was treating him as a kid during the practices. They were attacking him hard. They were physical with him. They didn't give him the benefit of the doubt just because he was 15. So he said that he appreciated it because his transition to the adult football was much easier.
What position did he play for the Whitecaps?
He played on the wing, so they pull him back. He played, I think, as a left winger. I think.
I feel like he kind of reminds me of when you first saw Sterling, or what's your guy who's at Real Madrid from Spurs, Gareth Bale? Like, I have a feeling that he might end up going forward, like, or at least to the midfield, because, I mean, he's killing it in the back, but man, like, I could just see him like doing a lot of damage going forward. So it might be better this in the future, maybe move him up. But the same way they moved Sterling up, the same way they moved Bale up. I mean, that's where he started anyway. But yeah, man, he's fucking amazing. And I like the way Bayern has rearranged their defense and dropped Alaba into the center back position next to Boateng. Pavard is on the right, and this guy Davies, who's just like, he can go up, attack, and before the fast break gets to his end of the field, he's back there to defend it. So you have all this speed surrounding Boateng. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's the reason. I think that's the main reason why they play him in the back, because of the fact that he can go up and he can go down, and he's never tired, and he can play like that for 90 minutes. That he can cover at the back, but he still goes forward and he's still back on time. Where some of those older or not so equipped with pace and stamina players, if they go up all the time, sometimes they forget to go back. Like, for example, Danny Rose. The problem I had with Danny Rose in the Spurs years was that he was great going forward, but he was late a lot. And this kid is never late. He's never late. No, so that's pretty incredible that he's actually never late.
Yeah, this kid plays like, when you're playing FIFA, there's a way to make your man go faster, but you don't do it all the time because you'll burn out all his energy. This guy, you could do it all the time. He's not going to lose any energy, you know? Yeah. He's pretty fucking amazing, man.
But another player who is amazing, I think, and also still pretty young, is Kimmich, the guy who scored the goal. I think he's incredible. Yeah, he started as a right back. Now he plays as a center midfielder, but he can go up. He can go the same. He can cover. He can recover the ball. He can score. He can pass. He reads the game. There was a story I read about him that he is probably the best in the entire league and one of the best players in the world in terms of reading the game. Like, he's always in the right place. Yeah. Like, he's never lost in the, like, tactical point of view. He's always in the right place. And he barely makes mistakes. He very, very rarely makes any mistakes.
Well, he was in the right place. He was in the right place today. He scored that goal. So, yeah, I got to pay attention to him more. Like, I've seen him. I've watched Bayern play before, but he's not the one that kind of stood out to me. But, you know, man. And even looking at Dortmund, they have so much depth. Like, today is the first time I saw Witzel. Goddamn, the ex Real Madrid player.
No. Oh,
Say again.
and
No,
Sancho.
I said the ex Real Madrid. Yeah, they have depth. Like they have Reina. They got a good ass team. Hazard. You know, so they got players.
Mhm.
So here's another thing that happened today. There's another game, right, on Fox. And I clicked to watch it. And then they tried to charge me. They gave me a 5-day free trial for Fox Soccer. And then after 5 days, it's going to be $15 a month. And I'm like, you're not even going to have the league next season. And this season is over in 2 more games. What are you charging $15 to see extra matches on $15 a month to see extra matches that you're not even going to have? Like $15 a month for like an extra channel to see a game that I didn't even necessarily have to see today. So I just didn't watch it. I just watched the Leverkusen.
So did I, yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. I don't know if you have that Fox channel, but I was going to watch all the games, but when I clicked on that one and they said, I'm out. I just hope when ESPN gets the game that the price for ESPN2 is not crazy.
Yeah, I think there is a deal. I forgot. It's ESPN Plus and 2 other networks. They have
ESPN Plus.
Yeah, ESPN Plus. They have a deal with 2 other networks that otherwise you have to pay extra for. I forgot what networks there were, but pretty good networks. Those were good networks. I just forgot what networks those were, but I've heard there is a deal. Talking about the Leverkusen game, like going back to our initial thought, why the away teams are winning so many games, and I was thinking about it. Is it partially the fact that the players go to what they have in their DNA? They anticipate, the home crowds, and they anticipate to be kind of an underdog. And when this is not the case, they play more freely. And on the other side, some players are intimidated by fans, could be intimidated by fans, and now they're not.
They're not, right.
I don't know, I'm thinking.
Yeah. That's completely possible. Like Wolfsburg, like knocking in 4 goals at Leverkusen is like, and they just took all their chances and they dominated, they played hard. So yeah, it's like you don't have to go, and then it's not intimidating, and there's no crowd to pick the home team up either, and to push them to play harder to when they're a goal down or just when they're going forward. So it's like whoever is just better at just playing football without needing anything is best. Dortmund lost at home.
I must admit that one thing I appreciate a lot is the fact that they play real football. I mean, they don't really hesitate. Even in this game, Leverkusen against Wolfsburg, there was a fight, and at some point there were like 15 players next to each other, and so it looks real. Like at least the football part of it looks very real. They're not holding off. Even if the world around us is kind of semi-normal, that the game looks pretty normal.
Yeah, all I care about is real football. Fans add to it, but if there's good football being played, I'm gonna watch it. Like people watch those UFC fights without a crowd, and it was one of the best UFC fight cards executed ever. Like fight-wise, like all the fights were on point. So it's like, hey man, as long as people are real artists and good at what they do, fuck it. Like painters paint without a crowd. You just see the finished results afterwards. And everybody feels these paintings for centuries. So it's like, hey man, just keep playing this football. Did you see the Leipzig Mainz game?
No, I only saw the highlights.
Yeah, I saw that.
Lewandowski is still the best scorer, technically, Lewandowski. He didn't score today. Leipzig are playing tomorrow. and I think Lewandowski has 27 goals, and Timo Werner, who scored 3 for Mainz, it's 24. So it's a 3-goal gap. And tomorrow
he scored 3 for Leipzig against Mainz.
Yep. So tomorrow he can actually close the gap even. It's 27. Lewandowski didn't score. 24 for Werner. So at least there is some sort of competition still going on.
How many goals does Haaland have?
Oh, he just came
mid-season.
Mid-season. So I think he scored 10 goals so far. Plus he got injured in this game. He might not play anymore this season. How
injured? He got that injured?
It looked like he pulled his hamstring to me, So even if it's not a bad injury, he with those type of injuries, when it's groin or hamstring, it could be like automatic for 6 weeks until it heals, I don't think they knew 100% yet, but those were the estimates I read that he might not play again this season.
All right.
And that's the one downside
to say about the German league.
Yeah, that's the one downside that's the one downside from sitting at home for 2 weeks without doing nothing, because even the Bundesliga players, they had a break that nobody anticipated. So they do have a bunch of injuries at every team. They have more injuries than usual. And I would say if Premier League and comes back like a month from now, and La Liga comes back, I've heard, around mid-June. They'll play the first game, I think June 13th or June 14th. I would say it's even more break that nobody expected. And knowing Spanish players, I'm not sure if they train every day. So even if Bundesliga had a shorter break and they still have so many injuries, I'm afraid that in England and Spain, the injuries will be a big issue, big problem.
You're so full of doom and gloom. I think you have like Man U. When Man U comes back, they're going to be able to rotate so many players because everybody, because of the break, we don't have any injuries. Like we might not even keep Ighalo because we kind of don't need him, and his contract is up and he has to go back to China.
Yeah.
So what? What'd you say?
Yeah, I just saw today that he's signing like the biggest contract in the history of China. He'll be making like 20 million.
75 million. Jesus.
Yeah,
I saw
like
that contract thing.
Million,
so it's like.
Yeah.
But I also just saw an article on the BBC where Solskjaer said they're working on trying to keep him. So I don't know. But I'm just saying, it's like if you play this thing right, now that everybody on every team is healthy, people have bigger squads, they can rest players. So people don't have to get injured. But, it depends on how desperate you are to win, because of the position in the table. You might just want to only play your best players. But if you measure this thing out right and play it right, you can play all the people and keep your team from getting injured, so you have everybody till the last games, and then just maximize everything. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's a problem when you don't have normal trainings. I even spoke with a couple of my friends, players. Some of the Polish players that play in the MLS. They say they're worried. They're worried about the injuries because you can 70-80% keep keep working on your body, but nothing really can replace full speed, full contact training with the rest of the team, with some sort of consistency every day. You can't just replace it at home. It's just impossible. You can do all the stretches, bike, exercises as planned, but there's still higher risk of injury, and I think we'll see that. Yeah.
We'll see. When's the Premier League started training?
Yeah, they train. There was the biggest photo from your team today is a photo of Pogba and Fernandes training together. So.
Oh yeah.
So that was the surprising one.
Why?
Because people assume that Pogba will never step on the field with the Man U jersey anymore.
Who assumed that? Now, why would they assume that? Like, Pogba is financially locked to Man U, right? The teams that can afford him can't afford him. And the coronavirus made it even harder for them to afford him. So he's going to be with us. Now, I'm willing to let him go if he has to go. You know what I mean? I've gone through my whole emotional journey with this. But if he stays, he stays. But yeah, he's going to play. If this season in England starts back up, he's going to finish it. He's going to play. And he's going to play with Bruno. And that'll be exciting to see. You know? That'll be exciting to see. That's going to see another, when you're a coach, you get a lot of tests. So, you get, when people are injured, you have to find new players and you have to figure out a way to make those new players work. And then when transfer window comes, you have to figure out who to buy and then how to put them into the team and make them work with the team. And then another phase is after transfer season and you buy, when the injured players come back, you have to combine those injured players that came back with the new players that you bought and the team that was there before and make this shit work. So this is like, there's just test after test for Solskjaer and he has to make the shit work.
Yeah, you saw the quote I sent to you from him, which was kind of funny, right? That he would rather have a hole on the team than an asshole.
Right. Yeah.
I liked it. Yeah.
But,
it's well said.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, a lot of people automatically thought they talked about Pogba.
Right.
But he probably did it.
Well, I don't think he was talking about Pogba. I saw some headline for some story saying Real Madrid doesn't want Pogba because he's not humble. But
maybe.
I think
Zidane knows what he wants.
Yeah, but I think any player is humble when they play for. Listen, if Ronaldo was humble enough to play for Zidane, trust me, Pogba will be. So I don't know who, I saw that headline, I didn't read the article, but just the headline made me feel like, why waste time reading this article? Like, Cristiano Ronaldo has the hugest ego, like, of anyone. And he won 3 Champions Leagues with Zidane. And when Zidane told him or asked him to, like, hey, don't train so much, and we're going to rest you a little bit, the guy that just wants to be out there in the spotlight, he listened, like, and then I know Pogba idolizes Zidane, So, I don't know.
We'll see.
When do you think the British League will start? We'll see. When do you think the British League will start?
End of June.
End of June?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then what other leagues are coming back?
Polish league is coming back this weekend, and
no, but I said leagues. I said league.
The Polish league sold rights to 20 different countries, so that never happened before. That's pretty cool. Costa Rican league is playing even today. So,
like I said leagues. Costa Rica
and any league is coming back. I think the Italian league was scheduled to come back in the middle of June. They have a little bit of a delay, but they will start. I think in end of June. I think except of France,
they canceled. League,
and
right?
Holland that canceled their season, and Belgium, I think any other league is still on. I would assume Brazilian league because they have an outbreak right now, like a huge outbreak. I would assume the South American leagues are in huge jeopardy, and they have the regular league and they have state leagues. They actually play more game than anybody else. I assume in Brazil they'll have a problem, but no, I mean, listen. If you take it seriously, if you take all the precautions, Bundesliga is showing it can work. It can work.
The Bournemouth goalkeeper tested positive, I think, today or this week.
Oh, yeah, good, because the second goalkeeper is Polish, so he'll get a shot.
Well, it's not good if you want a good goalkeeper. Is he good?
He's 40 years old. He used to be one of the best in the world, like 50 years ago.
Jesus. Oh, Jesus. 40. You're spring chicken right there.
And he smokes and drinks. And he smokes and drinks. But he's a good guy. I like him.
How does he not have corona? But the other guy does.
You never know.
What else did I want to bring up to you?
You know, in Poland, actually, they handled Corona very well.
Right, they locked it all down, right?
Newcastle? Yeah, they locked it all down. Like
Newcastle.
You couldn't leave the house when you're under 18 without an person with you. Yeah, but let's talk about Newcastle because there is a rumor that they want to bring Benitez back or Pochettino is also a candidate. They have a lot of money to spend and they want to compete for top 4 next year. So,
but the deal ain't done. The deal's not done.
With whom? It's pretty much
Newcastle deal. It's not
what
done.
deal with the coach or with the? Yeah, but everybody says it's just
the owners. Oh yeah, because I heard they're trying to. They're looking at Coutinho because he didn't work out at Barcelona. He didn't work out at Bayern. They're looking at Coutinho. Who else did I hear they were looking at? But they're like trying to upgrade, like really fast. And I read an article about Pochettino this week. Did you read that? Yeah. So he said
no,
him
but
and Levy are still friends. So what?
I've heard rumors that he's very strongly linked with the Newcastle job. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that too. Like I think they probably give it to him over Benitez. Like, what's his name? What's the coach now? Bruce.
Benitez is successful there. Yeah, Steve Bruce. I feel bad for him because he did a good job. You know, I feel bad for him. He did a good job.
Yeah, but Steve Bruce is doing
Newcastle so far.
Steve Bruce has a better record this year than Benitez had last year.
Yeah.
And Newcastle sold players that could have helped him have even a better record. You know, Benitez had those players. So, I don't know. We'll see.
We will see.
They sold Iosi Perez to goddamn shit.
Leicester.
I can't. Yeah, Leicester. I can't remember. I can see the team, but I can't remember anything today.
He sold more. He sold more players. He sold a lot of players. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I go for Pochettino.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want to keep you long. Just trying to see if there's anything we need to cover. I'm glad the German league is back. Glad the Polish league is back, even though I won't be watching that. I'll probably watch K-League before I watch the Polish league. Did you hear about the owner of Hearts? She proposed a 14-14-14 league revamp, but it's only like a 2-year reconstruction, and then the league could go back to its original way. And the reason why she's proposing it is just so that her team Hearts could stay in the league as opposed to getting relegated as it is now if they stick to this thing. And it's only temporary.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about that?
No, I haven't.
She's trying to say, because Hearts got relegated. Like, did the Scottish League end? Did they make it official?
No, definitely not.
Well, they're saying that Hearts will get relegated. No, I think that it is official because they gave
you mean if they
Celtic.
Shut down the league? Yeah, they did shut down the league. Yes, they did shut down the league.
And they gave Celtic the title.
Yeah. The Rangers were not happy about it. I know. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so Hearts is going to get relegated. So this woman proposed something else. You know, so it's interesting. It's an interesting.
They had the same problem in France. In France, there will be lawsuits. The teams that were supposed to be promoted, I think the team that was in the first place in France, and I think they have the same problem in Belgium. The teams that were not allowed to advance are going to sue, most likely. So there's still potential for an additional drama in that regard.
Yeah, we go to court to watch soccer now. There's going to be more soccer going on in courts than on the field. Well, shit. Anything else you want to say or plug or talk about?
Just the last thing I would say, what we talked about yesterday on the phone, that the last game that was played in the Champions League, the Liverpool Atletico Madrid game, in the early stages of the pandemic, when people still were shocked with how it all goes. So they ran some data, they checked the facts, and that was the last game where they allowed fans with no restrictions. Liverpool lost and Atletico Madrid advanced to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. And 41 people who attended that game died from coronavirus. So this is unbelievable stat. 41 fans who went to the game died.
Did they get it from the?
So that's a reminder for everyone to take it seriously, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, if 41, I think there's a pretty strong chance they did.
I mean, they could have gotten it from other places, like after the game, on their way to the game, before the game. Like how could they confirm that? But yeah. So all right. Well, thanks for being on the show. Everybody, check out Martin's Jersey Duzek article in 442 magazine. It sounds good. Be safe out there, everybody. But everybody's got to make their own choices. Some people want to party at the Ozarks. Some people want to stay home. Some people are in the middle. Just do you and don't bug people. Just do you without bugging people. How about that? All right. All right. My name is Ian Edwards. Thank y'all. Love y'all. Enjoy German soccer. There's more games tomorrow than at the weekend. Yeah, man, it's lit. Watch that shit. All right. 1.